test. Good evening. Welcome in. My name is Josh. This is the Gaming Joy channel, and we are going to be playing some farm sim tonight. Jumping into our Judith Plains series called Big Sky, Big Dreams. And we're going to be in a big harvester. Harvesting some big fields. Really, really big fields. And I think I'm getting to a point where I've almost gotten what I want out of this map. And I can kind of explain, but there's a point in most maps where it's kind of the snowball point. And I know that the lots of this country is like suffering through lots of snow right now, but I'm going to call it the snowball point, or like the avalanche point, or kind of the snowball point, kind of like where you start going, and things start moving along, and you have the fields, and you have the equipment, and you have the things to do, and you keep plugging along, and then suddenly things just start to snowball. And what that phrase, I don't know if you guys ever heard that phrase. What that phrase usually means is when something starts to snowball, it means it starts to kind of progress in a way that's almost out of control. Right? So it's the concept of like starting a little teeny tiny snowball at the top of a hill, and letting it roll down the hill, and it collects more snow as it goes down the hill, and it goes down the hill, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and suddenly by the end of the thing, it's like destroying the town. Right? It's an old kids thing. Anyways, I think this gameplay, this series, is starting to snowball. Maybe not completely yet, but it's getting there. And what I mean by that is, let's set the time to something normal, and let's look. So we have this field here. I think this field is actually ready to be planted soon. Yeah, we have all our fields, and we've been doing some contracts, and as you can see over here, our clover field, which we planted last time, this big, huge, massive clover field is now freaking growing. It's growing good. It doesn't look very much right now because it's about the same height as the grass, but it's growing good. It does need some nitrogen, so we'll have to do that today. I always forget which one nitrogen and pH is between fertilizer and lime, but whatever. And over here, and I'll run over to the swather because it's still running. Over here, this is our alfalfa field, which is ready to go. It's ready to harvest. So we've got the swather creating these massive, huge, behemoth swaths of alfalfa, which is just insane. Let's tell the worker to get back to what he was doing because I had to save and quit. Go back to work, dude. He's just going to go, and he has this entire rest of the field. If you look at the whole field, we're here. We're here, and he still has all of this to do. This border and these first 2 rows was already like 1.2 million liters of alfalfa. It's ridiculous. That's going to keep going. But if we look at our harvest schedule, this is where it gets crazy. So we own this. This is the alfalfa field. This is our... What's this called? This is our prairie grass field. You got to see the new prairie grass today. We can start looking at that today. And then this is barley. This is barley. This is barley. This is linseed, I believe. And then you also have a couple more fields over here that I started to buy this kind of corner of the map. Only because field 25 and field 12 are both corn fields. And we also need to harvest corn. Or is field 25 and 18 are corn fields. 19 is barley and 12 I think is sorghum. But as you can see, we own this like bottom part of the map. And for scale, this is a 4x map. So roughly this bottom corner of the map is an entire normal size map. Like the part that I own is a good 75% of a normal size map. And I've gotten to a point now where I think the snowball is happening because I just kind of like, I wait a few minutes, the BGA processes some stuff, I do a contract or two, and suddenly I have enough money to buy another whole entire farmland. And so we're going to own this whole area of the map. What is this? Hold on. What is going? Is it hailing? What in God's name? It's hailing. In the middle of summer. It's 27 degrees out. Wait, 27 degrees? Is that in Fahrenheit or Celsius? Why is it 27 degrees out in August? I don't even know. I can't explain it. This is stupid. But anyways, look at the prairie grass. The prairie grass looks really good. It's starting to look really awesome. It's going to be cool. But yeah. Apparently it's hailing. Celsius. Okay. So, I mean, I think I can set it to Fahrenheit, can't I? Settings, general settings, money unit, dollar, temperature unit, Fahrenheit. I'll do Fahrenheit for that one so I can understand it because it's 81 degrees out and it's hailing. That's not how hail works. Giants, are you completely dumb? You can't get hail and it's 80 degrees outside in the middle of summer. That's not how hail works. Really? That's just... Giants, you should go to ChatGPT and ask them how hail works. Maybe I'll get a tornado. That would be great. How do you see tornadoes? Can you see tornadoes? I don't see a tornado. Shouldn't the tornado show up on the map? Let's look at our weather. What's our weather say? It says that it's going to be hailing until 10 a.m. Apparently. I don't freaking know. What does 6 mean? 6 is the wind speed and direction. So the wind is actually southeast at 6. So it's very strong wind right now. Or whatever. I hope you guys don't mind the sound. If the sound is too much for you or it's too loud, I can turn down the hail sounds. The game shouldn't have hail sounds, but you know, whatever. We got the stupid NEXAT doing its harvesting. I only say stupid because the steering, the way they set up the steering on it is totally wrong compared to how it works in real life. It's like hurting my ears. How are you guys almost not hear it? 18 months already. God dang. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks for being here for 18 months, no less. There we go. Get him unloaded. And then we're going to go over to... Oh my gosh, it's so loud. It's loud for me. You have an earbud in? Okay, enter vehicle. Let's turn it down a little bit. It's actually making me angry. And so we're also kind of picking up the alfalfa as the swather swaths it. So we're kind of following along, picking up the alfalfa. This is good, right? But anyway, we're talking about how this gameplay is kind of snowballing. So I'm at a point now where I've bought pretty much all the land I want to buy. Pretty much. I might buy these things and turn them into yet another big field down here just for the sake of doing it because it might be fun. But I don't really need to, right? We wanted to buy corn and barley. We have corn, 2 cornfields, 4 cornfields now. So that we can get the whiskey plant going, right? And once the whiskey plant is running and we're producing whiskey, that's really all I wanted to do out of this map. And in all honesty, we've been playing this map for 6 months now, something like that. It's been a long time. Somebody'd have to go back and look and see what my first Judith Plains episode was, but I think it's about 6 months ago. And I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for something a little bit different. And I think we might go to Geistal as our next map. Now, I wanted to do a playthrough on Geistal, mainly because Geistal is a pretty kick-ass map. It looks really pretty. And I don't know how we'll change things up, but I think that I will probably do more of a start from almost nothing kind of playthrough and scale up my business and my productions and whatnot, starting from very small. Like I might just buy a farm and a grass field and go from there, and see what Geistal has in store for us. I might rely on just what the map has and not try to do contracts too much, or I might limit myself to only doing contracts for equipment that I own, which is one of the ways I like to play. But I think Geistal is going to be our next step. So once we I think we're probably going to do maybe 2, maybe 3 more episodes of this map, and then we'll probably move on to Geistal. Because I've had a lot of fun on this map, but I want something a little bit different. This is honestly, when we started playing this, I wanted to do it because it's Judith Plains, and I wanted to because I like DJ Modding's maps, but I liked the overall look of this farm. This farm I really like the look of. But the rest of the map, the fact that it's pretty flat, is actually making me kind of crave more hills, and I think Geist Style is going to solve that. And I also added a couple of cool features to Geist Style as well, so we'll be able to test out some cool new features when we get there. Model Husband says 7 months, so it sounds like I've been playing this map for 7 months. That's a long time for me, and I think the only reason that I let it go that long, in some way, is because we've been jumping around a lot, playing a lot of other stuff, playing a lot of other games, doing a couple other challenges, doing a couple other live stream, throwing in some map tours here and there. I think that's what kind of keeps me going. But I think that there's more to the game that I want to see, and I want to see some more maps. So we'll go over to Geistal and see what happens next. And Deep South Gaming, I'll jump over there real quick because we're going to be waiting for the harvester. We're waiting for the harvesters, which will be running currently on workers. So we'll jump over to the whiskey plant. There's 2 of them, actually. Well, sort of. So if we jump on the map and we go over here. Oh my gosh. My DPI is up. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you guys saw that DPI thing on the screen, but I did. We jump here, and this is Farmland 125. And so this is on the map. This is part of the map. One of the cool parts about DJ Modding's maps is because he releases privately on itch.io, is that he can do whatever he wants as far as brand names are concerned. So one of the restrictions for going to ModHub is you can't put the company names of brand names on ModHub. They don't allow it. So Jack Daniels, it's a brand name that we all know and loved. I like Jack Daniels whiskey. It's one of my favorites, right? And then you get over here, you get a Youngling, the America's oldest brewery. I think that's actually an actual brand. I don't drink beer, so I don't know, but I think that's an actual brand. So we have, and we can produce things that Giants doesn't allow in the game, like alcohol. So we have this Youngling, I think I'm saying that right, traditional lager, and we have a Jack Daniels plant, and we can, as a matter of fact, actually let's look, we can buy those available. There's a ton of like custom stuff on this thing, but Youngling beer, and beer only takes barley and water. We have a ton of barley fields, so let's go ahead and get this production. We'll produce both beer and whiskey. Because why not? While we're here, buy for 240 grand. Hell yes. So now I own this beer factory. This one. And it is barley and water. So that's easy enough. We will transport some water here. Let's jump over to the whiskey one, see what the whiskey one needs. I believe the whiskey one also needs water. But I'm not going to cart water. That's boring. This one. This one is generating water automatically because I added a recipe to it. This one's generating water because it should, because it's plugged into the system. So anyways, we'll get those both set up the same way, and we're going to start delivering what we need to make the proper things. Yingling. Was I saying it wrong? Nice. Yeah, I don't know anything about beer. So now we own those 2 productions, and those are like one thing I like to get out of maps when I play maps, unless I'm like trying to dominate the map. One thing I like to get out of each map is I love to experience what's custom to that map, what makes that map special, right? And Bruce just toured a new Poor Boy map, which also has a bunch of custom stuff, and I would actually really look forward to actually playing that map in a playthrough. I've been looking for a good forestry map. But I wanted one with custom productions where someone actually took the time to think about, okay, what can we do other than just harvesting wood? What can we produce that comes from producing wood? And Poor Boy seems to have done that with his next map. So maybe we'll do another playthrough at the same time on that map as well, because we get to experience something that is new and different. And that's what I look for. That's what I look for in every map. That's one of the things I'm actually playing on my own and recording. And you guys know I don't do very much recording. But I'm actually recording kind of a sort of let's play, I don't know what you want to call it, on the flooded map, the submerged sanctuary map, because it's new, it's different, it's creating a new mechanic, a new way of playing, something else to think about other than just plant, harvest, farm. Like plant, harvest, repeat. You know what I mean? Like that to me is part of this game's franchise, but not all of it. And I think that some map makers tend to forget that that's not all there is to do. What else are you going to give people to do to fill their time? So, we got to jump over to the truck because the harvester is full. So anyways, I think I got a lot of those. I'll just play any map for whatever reason. I did a lot of that in 22. But what I'm really looking for in 25 is, and because my time is limited playing and streaming and recording, is I'm looking for unique. I'm looking for what's different. I'm looking for something special. And so that's what I kind of gravitate towards, because I want to highlight those special things, because in some cases it's being ignored or overlooked, like the submerged sanctuary map. I haven't seen anyone else do map tours on that map. Why? It's brilliant. It's such a cool idea, and I can't wait for more maps to do it. And if I ever build a map, I want to add in those cool and unique features that no one else is doing. Not just because I'm trying to be cool, but because I want people to experience something more than just everyday farming, right? That's just how I want to do things. So, but being that we have this field right here, and this field, and this field, all to harvest right now, we've got our hands full. And we're trying to keep up with this one. Deep South, I 100% agree. A butcher would be awesome. And to be fair, there are butchers in Farm Sim 25. There's multiple butcher mods. But then if you also get for other people like who actually think outside the box, like Hoff Bergman has a bunch of that stuff. Butchers and all of those other things, right? They're adding those things custom to their map and not releasing on Mod Hub because it gives them the freedom to do what they want and release things that may not pass Giants' very strict rules, right? And that's the thing, and that's Bruce's point exactly. The everyday map maker is just making an everyday map, right? It's just making it. The reason we call like cars in the market, we used to call them K cars, right? Is they're just generic carbon copies of other cars. They're not trying anything new. They're not doing anything unique. And then you get the few cars that stand out, and those are the ones people are really excited about, or not excited in the case of something like the Cybertruck, is because they're breaking the pattern, they're breaking the norm, and that either it's polarizing. People either love it or hate it, right? And so instead of just copying what we've done in the past and just recycling what was done before, or bringing old maps forward to new maps, like, who cares? No offense. I mean, Some people do care. I mean, let me rephrase myself. I don't want to be negative. Some people really look forward to that stuff. But especially for things I've already played, I don't care. There's nothing that appeals to me to do that. I spent a while in 22 playing a challenge with Rusty, and I recorded it all and never released it because, again, we've talked about the whole recording and then editing part that I can't seem to figure out. But I played a gameplay on Goldcrest Valley, and I got almost a year into the gameplay of Goldcrest Valley, trying to do a, you know, get to $1 million kind of challenge. And the only reason I played it, and the only reason I was happy to and or excited to play that map, is because I'd never played it before. And when you get maps that are, I'm going to speed up time to get past all of this stupid hail. It's supposed to be done by 10. I can't stand listening to it anymore. When you get maps that are just carbon copies, or whether they're on purpose or not, carbon copies of things that we had before, I don't see the draw. Like, to me, there's no draw. I don't want to go play again of a map that I just finished playing a year ago. Like, I don't want to do that. That's not fun to me. Maybe I'm weird. Who knows? And yes, Bruce, editing sucks. I thought it was supposed to stop raining. We looked at the weather. Sunny by 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. It's still raining. And I bet the harvester stopped. Like, I bet the NEXAT just stopped working. He's probably paused. No, he's still going. Back to Model Houseman. Model Houseman asked up here, is it using the flooding the rice paddies logic and reversing it? No. Which would have been cool. To get the water thing on that map, the submerged sanctuary map, to work, they basically have a moving water plane. And so they have a water plane that on user action, they are moving the water plane up and down. And so the flooding the rice field logic is logic that's built into the game engine, and modders don't really have access to it. But so he wrote his own scripts to handle it. And I've read through the scripts. I've actually modified some of them to do something special for the series. But they're written really, really well. So whoever he is, he's a good coder. And the logic for that game is totally solid. Yeah, Bruce did a tour of it. I didn't realize anyone else other than Bruce did. I also wasn't looking, so it is what it is. I like it that it's a fresh idea. I like that it's turning parts of the game on its head. I like the fact that it's, you know, turns off the contract system. I personally rely on contracts a lot when I'm playing, and maybe to my own distraction. I don't know, whatever. This guy's 56% full. We'll empty him out quick before he turns the corner. I'm surprised the NEXAT is still harvesting even though it's raining. Unless the weather is like, whoops. Unless the weather is bugged. It could be bugged because I was playing with the time selection. Weather. Reload weather. Yeah, it's actually sunny, but it just hadn't stopped the animation for the rain. All right, we're almost done with this field. 2 more fields to go. Or 3. Actually, let's check. I don't know if this one's ready to go. Is it? This is wheat, and it is ready to go. What is that flickering? Look, it's like the animation for the weather is still not reset properly. There we go. So the wheat field is ready to go. Let's go check the sorghum field. These are the new fields that we bought, sight unseen. We just bought them because they have the right crop in them. I'm just sprinting through a cornfield. This is a big cornfield. Still going. I think I'm heading the right direction. There it is. And sorghum. And the sorghum is ready to harvest. Okay. Cool. All right. So we have those 2 fields ready to go. Gosh. Seriously? Every time I teleport, the weather gets all messed up. I think actually, as part of what we just bought, we got a ton of grass we can mow. Is it? No, we didn't actually. These fields are just barely the border. What I actually want is this. 1.1 million, so we won't get extra land until we buy that one and that one. It's a bunch of open grasslands I want to mow just for the sake of mowing it because I like mowing grass. We'll have to buy one more field, so we have to make some money. How is our biogas plant doing? It's doing good. There's 621,000 liters of digestate we can sell. That's cool. What is going on? Come on. That hail is totally messing up my game. Let's save just in case. I don't want to have to do any of this over. But welcome in everybody. I got 10 awesome people viewing. Let me know in the chat if you're here. I want to say hi. But we are, see, stop. It's like the game really, really, really wants it to be hailing and doesn't understand that I fast forwarded time past it. So the hail animation is just still running. Hey, Flint, welcome in. How's it going? Thanks for coming along. Thanks for being here. We are doing a massive harvest on Judith Plains with some of the biggest fields on this map. This map is like freaking huge. I mean, the map is huge. It's a 4x map, but like this field is 59. Pretty much 59 hectares. Actually, the field itself is 53.9 hectares. That's freaking huge. See, and the environment's all messed up again. I'm pretty good tonight. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying my time on Judith Plains, and in some ways I think I've mentally decided that we're going to move on, and it's some way that makes me happy. Because I like to be able to take projects and finish them and get to them to a point where I'm satisfied. And I also love starting new game saves. That whole process of like deciding where you want to buy a farm, and then for a series on YouTube or on a live stream, deciding like what equipment I want to have and what like game style and gameplay I want to play, and like how hard I want it to be for myself, and what challenges I'm going to put in place for myself, and then going out and finding mods to play something unique. I love that part. I really do. I set up more gameplays than I actually play because I like that setup part, and I get these grand ideas for a different way to play or a different thing to do or whatever, and then I end up not playing them because I just don't have enough time. But so I'm actually very much looking forward to being able to start a new game save on Geistal. And we've got a ton of really cool features we're going to mess around with, and new stuff that you've never seen before because it's all stuff I've added. And here's our NEXAT. We have to get this one thing that it would not. Right over here, when I was doing the border, it just didn't want. What are you doing? There we go. It did not want to harvest this going horizontally. So I think I'm gonna have to go this way. I think there's just too much of a curve to it or something like that, or too much of a curve to the hill. But look at that big old grass field right there. That's what I was talking about. I want to mow the hell out of that. That looks exciting. Why anyone would want to mow that big of a grass field, I'm sure you guys don't understand at all, but to me that looks like the most fun ever. I don't necessarily like the NEXAT either, but somebody said, hey, why don't you try it? And we bought it, or we've leased it, so it is what it is. I might just switch back to, like, we have the money, right? Or we have the ability to get the money, I should say. So I might just, we could do this. So this is the NEXAT, this is the one from Giants. But, I mean, in reality, if we look at it, we really look at it, right? Whoops, that's not the one I want. We go to vehicles, and the NEXAT header, where's the header? No. Where's the header for this stupid thing? I just go to the one I'm leasing. Find the one you're leasing, Josh. There it is. The Gienghoff 50-foot header. So it's a 15.2 meter header. And we could instead get this. No, I went in the wrong menu again. We could instead get this. Booped. Boopity boop. We could instead get this beast of a case, because we're doing a case IH farm anyways. We get this AF11. We could get the insane extension, which is 200,000 liters. 775 horsepower. It's got more horsepower than the NEXAT. I don't remember whether I added wheels on it, but I want to add like the big wheels that Chris and Riley added. We could use this big black beauty kind of case IH, and then we could use the really big MacDon header, right? Where's the harvesters? Then we have this thing, the 19.2 meter flex draper header. So we could upgrade to this thing, which is just freaking huge, way bigger. And it would be better than this silly NEXAT. Right? So I think that's what we might do. We might just switch away from this NEXAT because it just doesn't work very well. And I can't mod it because it's a DLC. So I can't fix it. So I think we'll probably just switch over to the case. I'm going to finish this harvest using the NEXAT because that's what we have right now. But I think for the next time, we're going to go ahead and for the next harvest, or maybe for the corn harvest even, we still have to do a corn harvest. What do I have for corn headers? We have the Geinhof pack, and this is a foldable 18 meter corn header, which 13 meter, 15. So I have a 15 meter, a 13 meter, which is base game, 15 and 18 meter. And then I have the Capello ones, which are 9, 9, and 12, but those are folding. So, or I could just get a Case IH header. But I mean, I could just go with this one. This one's freaking huge or awesome. Hey, Jarvis, welcome in there. How are you? Yeah, good evening. Good evening to you too. I think that's what you're saying. But yeah, I could do this thing and this header. It'll make quick work of that. It'll make quick work of those fields, and I can paint a plaque. So this is probably what we'll do. We'll figure it out, and we'll go with the case because this thing is just, I don't know. It's not making me happy. Jarvis, welcome in. I'm really super happy you're here. But as you can tell, I'm an English speaking streamer, and I do not speak your language. Unfortunately, I don't have any idea what you're saying. So if you would mind saying hi in English, I would greatly appreciate that. But other than that, I don't speak any other languages. So my apologies. Thank you so much for coming along and joining us on our super fun Judith Plains playthrough. We are in the midst of a massive, massive harvest. Yeah. The crop bonus doesn't make it worth the precision farming. And I mean, does the NEXAT even give you a crop bonus? Because technically, actually, with the case thing, actually, we could do this. Whoops, wrong button. We could do the case and then use this. We could do the bushel plus on the case and get extra crop from the bushel plus. So, yeah. That's a great question, Flint Race. I actually do not know the answer. It's not in my map. And I heard rumors of a big Michigan map, but I don't follow current mods and maps very often. Unless they speak to my interests. And the Michigan mapping is going to be like the polar opposite. Anything in Michigan is going to be a polar opposite to my interests because I don't like big and flat. I like hilly. And this is about as flat as I will ever play. So, I'm probably not going to be looking towards the Michigan maps. But if anyone else in chat knows and wants to answer Flint Race's question, please feel free. Let's see here. Let's go back over here. See what we're doing here. Are we full yet? Oh, we stopped at 95%. And we're full again. Can you imagine what it would be like cleaning this field? Like trying to actually reload weather. Can you imagine what it would be like to actually clear this field? Why is the time set at 8:33? Wait, hold on. Hold on. I mean, I'm going to leave it alone. But I think something I did with easy dev controls totally screwed up our game save. What time is it? I don't know if I want to reset. So I haven't saved. But if you look in the top right corner, it says that it's August year 1. And it's 8:33 in the morning. But in our gameplay, we're in September year 3 at 10 something in the morning. And so something with the time and date got messed up. Something with the time and date got messed up. You guys see that? I'm not sure if I should keep playing. I mean, we're going to lose a little bit of progress. Not much progress, but we're going to lose a little bit of progress. I put up a poll. Should I keep playing or should I just quit out and start back where we were at the beginning of the stream? And we were only losing just under an hour, but I don't want to save. I mean, it does the year and the month doesn't matter to me as long as it keeps. Here's what we're going to do. Let's do this. I'm going to save. All right. I'm going to save. Hear me out. The game does automatic backups. I can roll back to the backup before we started playing if this doesn't work. So I'm going to save. I'm going to see this still give me that stupid thing with the weather. It's like resetting the weather every couple seconds. So I am going to restart the game. It's going to go back into the game. And hopefully the year and month and stuff and time will reset properly. If it doesn't, I can roll back to the previous save. And the previous save will be what happened when we started at the beginning of today. So we'll lose the little bit of harvesting and buying the beer factory, but other than that, that's all it really was. It's a little bit of harvesting and buying the beer factory. No big deal. So let's do that. Actually, let's say, what does it say? See, it still says time played 97 hours. It still knows that I did 97 hours. Almost 100 hours in that game save. Can you guys believe that? And if you think about it, I've done 13 live streams because this is episode 13 or 12. I forget. It's like 12 live streams times 2 hours. That's 24 hours, which means I put in an additional like 70 hours off stream, trying to keep this series alive. Hey, Second Chance Gaming, welcome and thanks for being here. Thanks for coming along. By the way, Second Chance, you helped me remember and all that kind of stuff. I updated the end card finally, and to add yourself as well as Deep South Gaming. Now, the end card I like to call out, and just while we're talking, we can talk about it. In my end card, I like to call out all of our members, all of our channel members, the people who support this channel and keep this channel going. We've updated the end card. I only update it usually about once a month to update the channel memberships. So for people who've fallen off channel memberships or people who've joined channel memberships, if you'd like to join, I don't really ask for this very much, hit that membership button down below. But what's even more important than that is share this stream with your friends. If you think your friends would like my content, please, please, please share the stream with your friends, share my channel with your friends. And oh yeah, it still says August year 1. But we're still in the same place. Hold on. I can fix this. Okay. So this is how the save game stuff works. You guys want a little bit of it behind the scenes. Here it is. Career save game. Save date format. That's the date that you saved. And your career save game is what date and time it is when you created your save, how long you've been playing, all that kind of stuff. Auto save, and then environment. See how it says daytime, current day, current monotonic day, real time hour, days per period, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff right here. See how this is like your weather? And current day 6, current monotonic day 6, real hour timer, days per period. I would bet money that doesn't match this. Is it environment? Yeah, see? Real hour timer. See, daytime 480. This is the backup, the most recent backup for saying that I have playtime statistics, money, playtime. We compare this environment file with the other environment file. It's totally wrong. Now the game is still running, so I can't actually edit this stuff. Where's year? Timescale, playtime. Maybe it's this. It's actually really bothering me that it says the wrong date. I don't know why that does that, but it does. Farms. Travel distance. So if we look at farms here versus farms here, we compare these. The statistics are all pretty well even. The statistics are right. Expenses, playtime, wrap builds. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it. Basically, the thing at the top right is totally wrong. And because the thing at the top right is totally wrong, it's like it's throwing me off. So I'm just going to go with it. It's working. Whatever. I think we were in August. I mean, we can look, somebody can look back at the beginning of the stream. If you guys are, can you scroll back at the beginning of the stream and find out what month and what year we were in? I think we're in August. The weird thing is it says year 1 to me. That's the part that's throwing me off, like super throwing me off. If someone could like rewind the stream back to the beginning and see what month and year it is. And then I'll try to figure out off stream how to fix my save game file. And I think it's the reloading the environment. When I click reload environment, not reload weather, but reload environment, I think the year and the month is based on your environment. And when I reloaded it, it just reloaded it. And I lost how many years I've been playing. But I don't think it matters because we're still in the middle of the same harvest. The harvest status for these fields hasn't changed. Oh, so it's August year 2. And so instead it says August year 1. Who cares, right? I'm going to leave it. I don't know why. Oh, I can figure out in the code where the year 2 comes from, and hopefully I can fix it. I'm sure it's just a setting somewhere. Who cares? I'm moving on. Anyways, so we're having fun, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to that case harvester. Next. And get back to what I was doing. But I was saying, like, can you imagine how long it would take to pick up all of this alfalfa without using, like, my special equipment? Like this VPW version of a forage harvester, which is hopefully coming out soon. Or the fact that I'm using the MacDon to mow alfalfa, which only works on this map because I said so. Like, this field would be unmanageable at normal sizes. It would just take forever. It would take too long. So you kind of need my edits to be able to play this kind of stuff. It would just be too much normally. Thank you, Second Chance, for jumping back. Yes, we are coming up on 100. We're 902 last I checked. $904. Coming up on it. We've been getting around 1 or 2 subscribers a week. And I think that's mainly because I'm not doing very much. I'm not producing very much content. I'm producing lots of live streams, but a lot of the people who've come into the channel, thank you everyone for being here. But a lot of people who have come into the channel have come in from videos, like recorded videos. And I have not had the free time to record and produce content lately. I usually have the time to record, just not produce. Like, I've got a terabyte or 2 of recorded stuff from FS22 that's all done. Entire series is recorded, just never edited. And the same thing for 25. Like, I have at least 1 or 2 series that are things that I want to produce or edit that I just haven't had a chance to edit because I just don't like editing. I don't have the time for it. That's okay. How's the NEXAT? NEXAT is at 28%. He's moving along, I guess. Sort of. One of my favorite parts about this map, and I talk a lot about what makes certain maps special. One of the things that I really like about this map specifically is this field right here. Now, there's something here that most people don't notice, but I notice, is the bushes. Now, these bushes that are on the field weren't done with a paintbrush. Like most map makers, if they want to make something seem random, myself included, they will just go toot 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 with a paintbrush, right? DJ Modding didn't do that. He instead created two copies of the meadow crop, one called meadow and one called meadow weed. And the meadow weed one has additional bushes in it. So when you mow it, it all mows like meadow, but the meadow weed one has bushes. And once that bush is there, it's always there and it doesn't get cut. So it's like a bush with an extra weed in it, and that bush is not cuttable. So it always looks like that, which I really, really like. It's that little extra time to think about something different. Like Poor Boy's map that Bruce just toured recently, he's going to have his own meadow crop essentially. And that spending that extra time to make your own custom meadow crop takes time and effort. And yeah, you might just be editing base game values and stuff like that. That's fine. But you took the time to make it special. And I always like it when modders take that extra time to make something special in whatever way that they have the ability to do so. Whether that's making custom buildings, or whether that's making something true to real life, like really, really looking like true to real life, or that's making custom crops, whether that's custom productions, whatever it is. I always look for those kind of maps and map makers that go the extra mile for the player. And it's not just going the extra mile to get another map out on ModHub. I want them to go the extra mile for the player. I want things to be playable. I want things to be different, unique. Make people want to play them, not just like, oh, that's a cool map. Like, no, I want to see a map that I can't even consider not playing because it's just so cool that I've got to play it. Like, those are the maps that I go after. Those are the maps that I create entire series is in my head before recording a single episode. I also look for maps that I don't have to edit. I don't want to have to fix other people's problems. You got to test your maps, people. ModHub is not the time when you test. You're not getting Giants QA to test your map. If you're expecting Giants QA to test your map for functionality, then yeah, you're not doing it right. Because Giants QA doesn't test functionality. They just test it to make sure it's not broken. That's all they're doing. They're not testing functionality. They're not testing new crops. They're not testing to make sure the new crops actually work right. They're not testing to make sure that your production recipes are balanced. They're not checking any of that stuff. They're literally testing, does this map break our system? Does this map break the game engine? Does this map report too many errors in the log? That's all they're testing. So if you're getting to a point as a map maker where you're letting Giants do your testing for you, you're doing it wrong. And you can tell the maps where the map maker actually took the time to properly test it and get his friends and family and coworkers and tested the map over and over and over. That's why my mods take so long to come out, and why updates to my mods takes so long to come out. Is because I'm testing them. I'm playing with them. I'm playing hundreds of hours with new versions of the mod, like the Bednar Batwing. I've had that update ready for 3 months now. It's still not out because I'm testing it. I'm testing to make sure that it's 100% what I thought it's going to be. You know? Boop. There we go. That August year one thing is driving me nuts. Why does it say year one? It's not year one. It's year 2 or 3. Maybe. I mean, we can look back here. This is where we were. Set time, August. Day 1. I think if I did this and I set the time to somewhere in the past, it would jump a year. So it's right now 9:30. Year 1. If I use this, which is the same thing as doing a console command, and I set this to August 9 o'clock, it would jump forward a year. But I don't know if that's going to mess up all the crops and cause everything to wither. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to leave it alone. And if I fix it at all, I will fix it in the save game. Because I don't want the crops to change. I think it's just a visual display of there's something in there that says what year it is. And I think easy dev controls is not maintaining the current year. So when I hit reload environment, it reloaded the environment to August 8 a.m. year 1. Instead of August 10 a.m. year 2, which is what it should have done. And I think that it's when you do reload environment, the environment in the game also includes your current playtime and your current weather. And so weather is a subset of the environment in the way the game's engine works. I only know this because I'm messing with it very recently for the Submerged Sanctuary map. But I think by clicking reload environment, it just generated a new environment object. And I think that was actually a bad thing to do. I don't know how to fix it, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. Right now we're harvesting. And we're not gonna, I don't even think we're gonna finish harvesting this alfalfa field today. We might, I don't even know if we're gonna get to the 3rd barley field today. But I will probably set it up so we get to the I'll probably fix it so that we can buy that new harvester. Or do whatever I need to do to get to the end of the day. Sell some silage. Actually, do we have any silage to sell? Let's check. I don't think so. I think we sold it all. Or moved it all over to the Where is it? Fermenting silo. This thing's full of silage. This thing only has 524,000 liters. Only. So that's not ready to accept more silage right now. I mean, it is, but our trailer's 1 million liters, so there's no point in filling it up halfway. I dislike how the distance texture for that grass looks so crappy. I need to fix the distance texture for that grass. It looks like black and dark and stuff like that. I don't want it to look like that. Let's pick up this straw. We'll pick it up at full speed instead of half speed, because we got stuff to do. Harvester's at 68%. So 68% full on that NEXAT. We're gonna have to empty him out sooner than later. That's weird. The harvester decided to do 3 headlands. That's kind of strange. Why would it do that? Well, Giant's GPS is Giant's GPS, you know? It's not anywhere near as good as the other systems, so I guess we can't fault it too much. Yeah, we lost music. Why did we lose music? There we go. So, I want to know, we're a year and a half into Farm Sim now, right? A year and a couple months into Farm Sim. I want to know from you guys, what's missing? Right? Like, what did you expect that we would have by now that we don't have yet? Like, based off of development, whether that's something from Giants or from the modders or whatever, like, what do you think you were expecting to have by now in Farm Sim, but we don't have? Whether that's a specific map, or maybe a piece of equipment, or a style of equipment, or a style of whatever. What is missing to you? I mean, I know it's missing to me, but what is missing to you? Second Chance? Second Chance says more crops using RCS. I believe that you mean the row crop system. I would agree. I did use the row crop system in FS22, and I found that it was interesting with a level of realism that I thought was cool. Especially like that, you know, that the rows showed up the way you harvested them, not like when we plant stuff that's in rows now where it just adjusts automatically. I really like that. Or like, yeah, I enjoyed row crop wherever I've had a chance to use it, and I'm surprised that more maps don't use it. But then again, I think it's Giant's fault that that doesn't happen. And what I mean by that is not necessarily Giant's fault. I'm not blaming Giants. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I think it's because row crop is not on ModHub. And because if map makers want to get their map onto ModHub row crop ready, I think that I would imagine that they can't, because it would require a non-ModHub mod. And because it requires a non-ModHub mod, that restricts that map maker to only releasing privately, which obviously is going to get much less traction than if they release on ModHub. So I actually think it's Giant's fault. Like, as in why we're not seeing more maps that are row crop ready, because it's not on ModHub. And you can't have a dependency on ModHub that isn't on ModHub. It's just the restriction. Even if it's PC only, I don't even think the row crop system is on ModHub, and it would have to be for a map to require it. Nacho says, improved AI. I agree. I think the AI system is still not great, but it is what it is, you know. I'm just gonna teleport back and forth. I'm tired of driving. Deep South says, real to life crop rotation system. I 100% agree. Now, we did have a mod for crop rotation in 22. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think that mod was on ModHub, if I remember correctly. I think the row crop rotation mod was on ModHub. But if I remember also that mod was just like a tool to remind you of which crops to rotate. There was nothing that, there was no like control. It didn't like stop you from planting the wrong crop. It just was like a checklist to remind you. Nacho says the game knows there's a swath there. How does AI not know? Because the game doesn't know. So to answer Nacho's question, the way we'll jump into the harvester and I'll show you. So for picking up swaths to work with AI, you would need to be creating a path for the AI to follow, if that makes any sense. And so the game doesn't know where, like visually it knows, but I mean, what it stores, what the game is storing in its memory, I'll get into the NEXAT for a quick second. How do you get into the NEXAT? Here? What the game is storing in its memory is on this piece of ground, at this pixel, there is this much height of this product. That's how it stores in the game's memory what's on the ground, right? But since there's no path finding as part of that, the game wouldn't be able to know where those pieces are and how to navigate point to point to point where those things are, right? And so if you zoom out like this, we zoom out up top, you can kind of see that it's not in a perfect straight line. It's like going this, or like so this way. See that? That's because it's basically setting, because I'm in between pixels, right? It's being dropped in between pixels. So the game is doing math to determine, okay, this pixel, that pixel, this pixel, that pixel, this pixel, that pixel. And it's storing that information in a data file that gets stored as an image in your data directory, right? And that's the density map height types. That's what that file does. And it's how the game stores your density height types. Now, for a worker to follow that, it would have to be like, do you see how, like, when they do steering assist, it creates these paths? For a worker to follow where those things were, you would need paths to follow. So you'd kind of need a path where the thing is, like this. So enter vehicle here. See how there's a path that he's following? So that path exists in memory because this vehicle is following that path, and he's dropping a windrow along that path. So if you set another worker to follow this path, it would pick it up. And that's how you can use courseplay and auto drive together to pick up windrows, right? That's how it works. But it's only doing it because it's following a path. Now, the NEXAT is a special case because it's dropping two windrows, and those windrows are not centered, they're offset. So getting a worker to actually follow that, not path, would be virtually impossible unless, while the NEXAT was pooping out straw, it was pooping out like these kind of terrain points all over time. Poop, 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 poop. So so that something could come around later and follow those paths. That's just the way the game engine works. That's how the game processes stuff. That's how it's optimized to store the data and what data it stores. And that's how that works. As far as AI, balers with AI are just... The only way that balers with AI work is if you set the baler to the same width that your mower was or your windrower was windrowing at. So if I created a course, and you could do this with courseplay or with the in-game AI for balers to support it, you basically go in here. If I wanted a baler to follow this path, I would have to set my working width and all my settings to be exactly the same as they were on whatever's doing the mowing, harvesting, windrowing. And then I would have to set my baler to those same settings, with the idea being that I would generate a path that matches what was done when it was harvested or windrowed. But it's not true. It's not exact. And that's assuming that the generation system always generates the same path. And it doesn't, which is why it doesn't work. The only true way to get it to work would be if, as this vehicle was moving, it was dropping a path for someone else to follow. That's how the follow me mod works. So the way the follow me mod works is, as vehicle 1 is driving forward, it's dropping points for vehicle 2 to follow. That's how follow me works. And the true only way for baling to work behind a windrower or behind a harvester or whatever, the only true way for following vehicles to work would be to use the same concept that follow me does, which is where it's dropping a path, and then it's telling the vehicle behind, hey, follow this path, I'm dropping it for you. That's the only way it would work that I can think of. But right now, what we're really doing is we're doing is faking it. To get a baler to bale something that another vehicle does, the way it's actually doing it is by faking it and creating the same path. And it's really finicky to set up. I spent months and hours and hours and hours trying to get that stuff set up in Courseplay in 22. Nowadays I don't even bother. If you can see, I almost always will bale or windrow or whatever manually, and it's because it just doesn't work. Now in Courseplay, if you're using Courseplay, you can like we could have this guy follow the other harvester, and I'll show you how it works once we finish picking this up. Yes, 100%, Nacho. If they took the time, they would realize from Giants is so. Here's the way I think Giants thinks is from their perspective. That's not real, right? Getting AI to do baling isn't real. Baling is always something that's done as a very manual process in real life. And anytime you're getting a baling to happen not in a manual process in real life, it's being done by essentially the same kind of concepts that I'm talking about, where there is a one course created, and both the thing that is making the windrows and the thing that is picking up the windrows follow that same course. That's how it would work. It's how you can get two cars to follow each other. But in the difference between like GPS and AI drivers is it's the same exact difference between GPS and AI drivers. It's a good analogy. So you get Waymo, right? A car that's doing Waymo and a car that's doing like a Super Cruise, right? The difference between Tesla's like hands-free driving or Waymo taxis and between Tesla's auto drive and Waymo taxis is AI. And the reason is that Tesla's auto drive and some of the other companies' auto drives, like the things that are steering for your car, they are basically saying, okay, they only work on the roads that are set up for them. So if those roads have been have been mapped already, and every lane has a path, essentially what we're talking about here, that's how they work. But if something happens, the car doesn't know how to adjust. It can't drive around it can't drive around an accident. It can't slow down for, those things. It can't change lanes on its own, right? It's just following a path. Whereas something like Waymo or something that's AI powered, every second it's looking around itself and it is reading the terrain around it. It's detecting all of the vehicles around it, and it is making intelligent programmatic decisions every second on what to do or if there is adjustment needed to its current path. Like that's how AI traffic works. And to think in some ways, and this is just kind of getting real, to think that Giants is going to put time into making AI technology into farm sim is kind of silly. Because that level of sophistication is not worth a video game. Or a video game is not worth that level of sophistication. So you would end up having to do things like, as Nacho says, reworking your engine to fake it, right? Like you can't and the reason why AI workers run into bales and stuff like that is because Well, the AI worker doesn't know the bale is there. It's following a path that it had predetermined. It doesn't know there's a bale there because you're not programming the AI to have cameras in it that detects whether there's a bale in front of it or not. Like, that's extra work. And in all honesty, most video games, the simpler solution is always the better solution. Because it's less fragile and less prone to break. And that's why it's not better than it is. It sucks that it's not better than it is. And there's definitely ways, like we've talked about, to get around some of those places where it could be better, like dropping paths that mark a straw swath. That word is hard to say. That could be done, but we don't do it because the inherent underlying system is simple, and the goal is to keep it as simple as possible. Straw swath. Like, it hurts my face. I know that's super technical. To answer what Nacho was just saying is grumble, grumble, the AI sucks. But I mean, the other thing is you know, in all honesty, like, we're seeing a lot of tech in real life, right? That has AI or has like robot vacuums or like a robot vacuum, or what I saw a couple of videos of today, a robot snowblower. Literally, the robot snowblower is courseplay. The robot snowblower has something in it that you define a path around a field, i.e. courseplay, and then it determines the right path to go around that field and get all of the places. Courseplay. They're probably running half those robots off of courseplay. Exactly. But those things are not smart. Some of them have minor detection routines to say, hey, if I bump into something, I should probably stop. But it's not smart enough to say, oh, if I bump into something, I should stop, I should wait, and then I should go around it. That I should wait, go around it part isn't part of the programming because it's too complex. How big is the thing in front of you? How far out do you need to turn to go around? All of that extra logic is just, you know, too much. I saw a video last night because of all the snowstorms that are happening all over the country right now. Why is the NEXAT not moving? Go back to work, asshole. What are you doing? I thought I just emptied you out. Did I not? I saw a video last night of some guy who he took a video from his like Ring camera or whatever on his doorbell camera of his robot snowblower snowblowing his driveway for him in the middle of a snowstorm, right? And the caption for it was like, you know, I don't care that the path finding that the robot took is all wonky and that it goes over the same parts of the driveway 3 or 4 times. I don't care, because you know what? I'm inside and warm. And that's the reality of it, right? These robots and stuff like this is simplifying life so that people can do other things, right? But again, it goes down to very basic programming. Every robot vacuum is pretty much using courseplay. I have a robot vacuum that we got a while ago as a gift, and it does LiDAR to detect if it's going to run into something, and it also has like a sensor, like a bumper on the front, that if it bumps into something, it knows enough to back up and try to turn around it. And it has some software that does really simple turns, but it does those same simple turns every time, regardless of what's in front of it. And the really funny thing is watching the robot vacuum try to get around the dog who's asleep on the floor. Because the robot like bumps into the dog, it backs up a little bit, it turns, it goes an inch to the right, bumps into the dog again, turns, backs up, goes forward a little bit, bumps into the dog again. And it takes it like 10 minutes to get around the dog. So is it really making things better? I don't know. The dog doesn't think so. Dog's like, damn robot, get off me. Leave me alone, I'm sleeping. But when people say, you know, Giants' AI sucks, blah, 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 I'm like, you have to stop and think about, okay, well, Giants is a small software company. Waymo has hundreds of, probably hundreds of people all working 24/7 to make their auto drive technology for their robot taxis better. Hundreds of people's all working on one goal. Giants is just a software company, and their goal is not AI. Their goal is not better AI. Their goal is a farming game. AI is an afterthought. So the fact that we got GPS at all, I'm happy about. Yeah, sure, some of the AI pathing doesn't work great. You know, it is what it is. Like the go-to destination stuff doesn't always work. Why? Because the maps aren't set up for it right. The reason why auto drive exists is because Giants' auto drive, the stuff that's built in, the go-to location stuff, is based off of splines that are placed on the map by the map maker. If the map maker doesn't place those splines, that system doesn't work. Same thing with auto drive. If you don't actually take the time to build your auto drive route, auto drive's not going to work. You have to take the time to tell the system how to use it. And if you don't take that time and don't do that extra work, it's just not going to work. Simple as that. And so we have to remember, like, what's the goal, right? Is the goal AI? No, the goal is farming. The goal is a video game. So, and Courseplay is essentially, you know, a dedicated team who only build that part, that feature, that functionality. And when you have a dedicated team who's dedicated to doing the one thing, then yeah, it's going to be better than what Giants is trying to do, because Giants is trying to do a million things that all wrap together to make a single game. So that's why Courseplay is better, because they're focused. Giants is not. AI or GPS or whatever is like one of 10,000 things they're trying to get right. Now, don't get me wrong. They don't get everything right. And I've been a proponent of that, but I also sometimes have to remind myself and others to give Giants the credit that, yeah, they don't get everything right, but they get some stuff right. And they are working hard to make it better. But we all have to remember what the goal of this thing is that we're doing and we're playing. Yeah, Nacho's right. In 5 years, AI will be able to program the AI. Yeah. In all honesty, right now, you could probably take... Right now... You could, if the Giants code was active, or let's just say Courseplay, I could probably take the Courseplay mod, feed it into ChatGPT, and say, make these changes to that Courseplay mod to do this, this, and this, and tell it what to do, and ChatGPT would do it. It might not do it well, and it might not check all the edge cases, and it might not fully understand what you're telling it to do. It'll just do it, but it'll do it. But someone had to teach ChatGPT how to write Lua, so... Or ChatGPT had to teach itself how to write Lua. You know, that kind of logic has to be done by a human at some point, so... Yeah, that is what it is. How are we doing? If we look at our lower left-hand corner of the screen, I love this mod, by the way. If you guys don't see this thing in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, it's like a little overlay thing, right? It's... Let me see if I can zoom in on it real quick. This. Do you see that in the lower left-hand corner of the screen? This little window. We hide my face. This right here is the simple inspector, right? And the simple inspector, if you look at it, it's pretty small because I have a 4K screen, so it's hard to see. But if you see what it says, it has how much barley is in the NEXAT. So I can tell that it's at 73%, 74%, right? And it says every single one of my tractors or vehicles that's currently working, what their status is, right? I love that. That's super awesome. It's one of my favorite mods. It was called Vehicle Inspector in previous versions of the game. And then the final version of that mod is called Simple Inspector. And I believe it's on Mod Hub. If you don't have it and you're on PC, get it. It is a script mod, so, you know, it is a script mod. But it lets you keep an eye when you're playing single player and you use workers. It lets you keep an eye on what the workers are doing and what their status is, how fast they're going, what direction they're currently traveling. But the big thing is for harvesting and stuff like that, because it keeps track of how full your harvesters are, right? And then I can check to see if I'm harvesting a field. I can see how full that harvester is. If a vehicle seems like it should be going and it's stopped, I can see how fast it's going. And if it sits there at 0 kilometers an hour for too long, I can know that it's stuck. And it's stuck on a tree, right? Which is one of my favorite mods. I don't play on any save game without that mod, just because it's so not necessarily critical, but it's that good little bit of information that really, really helps. That helps enhance your gameplay, right? The other one that I use a lot, which is on here as well, is oh, thanks for being here, Nacho. I hope you get some good sleep. Thanks for coming along on the stream. The other one that I use a lot here, and this is not everyone's cup of tea, but I use the enhanced vehicle mod, which is the lower right hand corner. And so everyone else has most of the stuff that's in the lower right hand corner. They have the speedometer thing, and they have the wear bar and the fuel bar. But then there's also a bunch of other stuff that this mod has added to that display, including like the 8.6 hours of usage and the current odometer of 154 kilometers for this vehicle. This vehicle's gone 154 kilometers. That the engine is currently running at 849 RPM, or the fact that four-wheel drive is on and the parking brake is off, or the fact that I'm pointing at exactly 334.5 degrees. That all of that stuff is added as part of the enhanced vehicle mod. And just for the display part, that's critical to how I like to play. I'm a person who I like data. I like knowing things. And so that little bit of extra data that's on the screen at all times, I feel really helps me when I'm playing to just keep an eye on things. Because you see me jumping from tractor to tractor. I'm using workers a lot just to be able to keep the game going in single player. And so that enhanced vehicle allows me to be able to, when I'm playing the single player part, really keeps my game good. And then the better part I use a lot is it has a simple track lock. So I hit the space bar. I have it bound to space bar. And it keeps in a straight line from wherever I was pointing. So if I go over here and I point here, it's going to snap back to 0 because I've told it to only snap in 15-degree increments. So if I set it up to go over here, it's now going to snap at 330 degrees, right? And so I just have it snap in a straight line and then keep that straight line. I've tried to play without this mod, especially when I'm playing a crossplay save. And this mod is the #1 thing I miss when playing crossplay, is the ability to just say, I want to go straight in the direction that I'm going right now. Keep me going straight. I don't want to have to steer because the vehicles kind of drift a little bit just from naturally the terrain and all kind of stuff. I don't want to have to deal with that. And so the ability to keep a straight line, or the ability right here to set lanes. So I can do this, and I'm setting a lane, and I can follow one lane and go to the next lane and go to the next lane and space out my travel across the field. To be able to do that. Now there's a couple mods that do this. I don't know if VCA is in this version of the game or not. I don't know. But enhanced vehicle is the one I've always used. I've been using this since about the first year of 22. And I've been using it ever since 25. And since the mod came out for 25. But that's my other go-to every single game save mod that I include in every map. And I think the last one is a visual one. And the last one I keep in every game save, which I've had to fix because it got removed from Mod Hub, is the Real Dirt Colors mod. I didn't have that mod for a little while, and I really missed it. The Real Dirt Colors mod basically takes whatever crop you're harvesting and uses the texture color of that crop or ground or piece of ground or whatever the ground cover is, and uses it to change the color of the dirt on the vehicle. So if I jump over to this guy, instead of it just being dirt, you know, actually maybe it's off right now because this shouldn't be dirt, it should be green. So maybe the Real Dirt color is not on here. It might not be, actually. Sad day. It's all because it got removed from Mod Hub. That makes me sad. Gosh, this guy's still not done. He says he has 47 minutes left to go. God. 47 minutes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. And then this guy, enter vehicle. I'm not using Courseplay on, so I don't know how much longer he has to go. But it's gonna be a little while. And we're gonna be done in about 9 minutes. So I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and finish harvesting this barley field. And then we're going to harvest this barley field right here that we're in. And then we're going to harvest this barley field right here. Right? I do have real speed limit deep south. I just don't like using it because it just feels cheaty. Whatever. We can discuss that later. But I'm going to finish harvesting this field. And then I'm going to finish harvesting this field. I'll do this one on my own. And then we have to harvest this field, which is going to take us like 5 seconds. And then when we replant, we're going to merge these two fields into one. There's no reason to have that little linseed field there anymore. We're not using linseed at all. And then we're going to come over here. And we're going to harvest this field right here, which is wheat. Because we just bought this field. Yay. And then we're going to harvest this cornfield. And then we're going to harvest this sorghum field. And the only thing I don't like about these fields is the game put tram lines in them. And I can't stand the tram lines. And in all honesty, the one reason I don't use precision farming on almost all of my game saves is because of these stupid tram lines. I can't stand the tram lines. Am I alone in that? I think tram lines are dumb. But anyways, we're going to have to harvest this sorghum field, and I'll do that off stream. I'm actually probably slow down the time a little bit so that I have time to do that. And then once we're done with these fields, next time we'll come in and do corn. So next time we have, you can see them all three from here. We have this cornfield, and this cornfield, and this cornfield, all to do next time. And once we finish all 3 of those fields, then we should have enough corn. And do we have one more cornfield over here? I forget. I feel like we have another cornfield. And we also have this cornfield, right? So we have 4 cornfields to do next time. And then once we get those cornfields done, we're going to have to go up here to deliver all the stuff up there to the beer factory and the whiskey factory and make ourselves some whiskey and beer. And then I want to mow all of this because it bothers me that there's so much open space. I mean, this right here is like 2 million liters of grass that's just sitting untouched. And I love the fact that it's just sitting there untouched because it's just an extra reason for me to try to figure out how to get it and mow it because that sounds fun. So we're going to buy this land along this river here and we're going to mow at least this side of it. And I'll do whatever I need to do to be able to get to own this land. Because that's like my end goal, right? My end goal is to mow this field, and we might replant this field. We might once we harvest this stuff, we might mow this. We might plow this field and that field together or something like that into one big massive field and plant it in rye. And then the other thing we have to do is plant this in rye. We have to plant the rye for the rye whiskey. And we'll also have to harvest this field next time. The prairie grass. Actually, we're not going to harvest next time. We're going to harvest it in 2 months. Because there's an extra special feature. Yeah. And that'll be next time. So maybe we'll do that next Wednesday. Whoops, my camera's not even on. Maybe we'll do that next Wednesday, next Tuesday. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Probably I want to finish this up so we can get on to something new. So we're going to finish this playthrough up and I may continue to play it on myself for fun. Because I still kind of like this map. But I do want to get on to something new. And in the meantime, turn that off, turn that off. The NEXAT is full. Again, it does have to be fair, it does have a 32,000 liter grain tank, which is probably one of the biggest. Yeah, I think it is the biggest grain tank of any harvester base game in Farm Sim. So to be fair, it has a very big grain tank. But we'll see. This truck, good question. This truck is a international freight or Freightliner brand truck that I got off of a less than popular site, I believe Nacho, or no, not Gold Gaming. Just Joe helped me get this one. He got it from a friend who converted it from 22 and yada yada yada. I have 3 of them actually. I have this one that is a single axle. I don't like the triple axles. I like the small single axle ones. I personally like them. Single axle, just big rig. And then I also have over here, right here, boop, enter vehicle. And these are all based off of the Freightliner 108 chassis. And I also have a spreader truck and a lime spreader, or a fertilizer spreader truck and a manure spreader truck, all based off the same chassis, all by the same modder. They're all a little bit different, but they work pretty good. I actually really like the look of these Freightliners. It's the only US based truck that I like, and I think part of it is because it's kind of a snub nose. It's not a big long nose like most US based trucks. It's a kind of a snub nose. I prefer, honestly, personally, I prefer cab over trucks, but the Freightliner just kind of fit. with this playthrough, so that's what we did. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for being here. We had 17 awesome people all hanging out on the stream, all participating and chatting. Thank you especially to Deep South and Second Chance Gaming and Model Houseman for all keeping the chat going. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Let's do that one. We're going to move this screen out of the way for a second. Sorry about that. And then we're going to go here. No. Where's the button? We're going to see if there's anyone else streaming real quick. And let you guys bounce over to someone else. For all those people who are watching, don't want to lose everyone completely. We're going to send you over to a friend, hopefully. Let's see if there's anyone else streaming right now. We did have a few friends streaming. Ooh, Oregon Tree Gaming is playing. We're going to go over to Oregon. But Oregon is just doing forestry. Well, let's go over to someone who's farming. Wranglersaurus Rex, one of our good friends, is currently streaming right now. And so we're going to jump over to Wranglersaurus Rex streaming. Hopefully he's not ending because he's been going since about the same time I started. But let's jump over to Wranglersaurus Rex stream and we'll go from there. I want to say a special thank you to everyone for being here. Special thank you to all our AI members. Are always involved, awesome individuals, amazing impact. To the new people who've been added to this list, Model Houseman, you're on the amazing impact list now. Second Chance Gaming, your name has been updated in the order of the always involved people. We've currently only got about 10 members. It's a really very tight-knit club. If you'd like to join, hit that membership button down below. It's only a couple bucks, and it keeps this channel alive. And I put all of the money that I get from all of those memberships right back into the channel. Our Discord server just recently got updated and boosted to enable the gaming tag on Discord. If you'd like to join and use that tag and show your support, feel free. But thank you very much for everyone for being here. Thank you for jumping along. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Hang in there and come in for the gaming raid over on Wrangler.